My dear seniors, let me begin by speaking to something many of you have quietly accepted as normal. You wake up in the morning, and your mouth feels dry, uncomfortably dry. Your tongue may feel heavy, your throat slightly irritated, and you instinctively reach for water before you can even speak. Some of you may even notice a strange taste or difficulty swallowing that first sip. And over time, you begin to dismiss it. You say to yourself, "It's just part of getting older." But I want you to understand something very clearly today. This is not just a minor inconvenience. This is not something to brush aside. Your body is speaking to you, and it is asking for your attention. You see, the human body is remarkably intelligent. It rarely sends signals without reason. Every persistent symptom, no matter how small it appears, has a message behind it. And dry mouth, especially when it happens consistently every morning, is one of those signals that deserves respect. It is your body's way of telling you that something is not functioning the way it should. Let us talk about saliva for a moment, because many people underestimate its importance. Saliva is not just water in your mouth. It is a protective fluid, rich with enzymes, minerals, and antibacterial properties. It helps you break down food, protects your teeth from decay, keeps your gums healthy, and even plays a role in preventing infections. Throughout the night, your body naturally produces less saliva, but not so little that you should wake up feeling parched every single day. When that dryness becomes a pattern, it is no longer normal physiology. It is a warning sign. Now, why would your body reduce saliva production? There are several reasons, and this is where we must begin to pay attention. One of the most common causes is simple dehydration. Many seniors do not drink enough water throughout the day, often because they do not feel as thirsty as they used to. The thirst mechanism weakens with age, but your body's need for hydration does not decrease. So what happens? You go to bed already slightly dehydrated, and overnight, your body loses even more fluid. By morning, your mouth is dry not because it is harmless, but because your body has been operating without enough water. But dehydration is only one piece of the puzzle. Sometimes, dry mouth is your body's way of pointing toward deeper imbalances. It could be related to how your body is processing sugars, how your glands are functioning, or even how your nervous system is regulating essential processes. You may not feel pain, you may not feel sick, but the dryness is there, persistent, consistent, and trying to get your attention. What concerns me most is how easily this symptom is ignored. Many people adapt to it. They keep a glass of water by the bed, they sip, they move on, and they never ask, "Why is this happening?" But ignoring a signal does not make it disappear. It simply allows the underlying issue to continue, sometimes silently progressing. Think of it this way. If a warning light appeared on your car dashboard every morning, would you simply cover it and keep driving? Of course not. You would want to know what it means, because you understand that small warnings can lead to larger problems if left unchecked. Your body deserves that same level of attention. Another important point to understand is that dry mouth does not exist in isolation. It often comes with subtle companions: bad breath that doesn't go away easily, a sticky feeling in the mouth, slight difficulty speaking for long periods, or even changes in taste. These are not random occurrences. They are connected, and together they form a pattern that tells a story about your internal health. And let me say this with clarity and care. Aging does not mean accepting discomfort as your new normal. There is a difference between natural changes and preventable conditions. Dry mouth falls into the category of something you can and should investigate. Because when you address it early, you are not just relieving discomfort. You are protecting your overall well-being. You deserve to wake up feeling refreshed, not searching for relief. You deserve comfort, ease, and confidence in your health. And that begins with listening to your body, even when the message seems small. So the next time you wake up with that dry sensation, do not dismiss it. Pause for a moment and recognize it for what it is: a signal, a message, a call for attention. Because your body does not whisper without reason, and when it repeats itself every morning, it is no longer whispering. It is trying to be heard. And the sooner you listen, the better you can respond. Now, let us go a little deeper, because for many of you, the cause of that persistent dry mouth is not simply what you drink or don't drink. It may very well be what you take every single day in the name of protecting your health. And this is where things become both important and at times a bit uncomfortable to confront. Many seniors today are on multiple medications. Some of you take tablets for blood pressure, others for heart conditions, diabetes, allergies, sleep, or even mood support. Each of these medications plays a role, and I want to be very clear. I am not here to tell you that your medications are wrong or unnecessary. In many cases, they are essential. They are helping you manage conditions that, if left untreated, could become dangerous. But what I do want you to understand is this: while these medications are solving one problem, they can quietly create another. Dry mouth is one of the most common side effects of many widely prescribed drugs, yet it is rarely discussed with the attention it deserves. Why? Because it is often seen as minor, secondary, something you can live with. But as we have begun to understand, it is not something to simply tolerate without question. Let me explain what is happening inside your body. Many medications affect the nervous system, the same system that controls your salivary glands. These glands rely on proper signals to produce saliva consistently. When certain drugs interfere with those signals, saliva production slows down. It does not stop completely, but it becomes insufficient. And that insufficiency is what you feel when you wake up with that dryness, that stickiness, that discomfort. Now, consider this. If you are taking more than one medication, and many of you are, the effects can combine. One drug may reduce saliva slightly. Another may do the same, and together, they create a much more noticeable impact. This is what we call a cumulative effect, and it is very common in seniors who are managing multiple health conditions at once. But here is where I want you to be especially attentive. Often, no one tells you this. You are prescribed a medication, you are told what it is for. Perhaps you are warned about a few major side effects, but dry mouth may not even be mentioned. So when it begins, you do not connect the dots. You assume it is age, or weather, or something insignificant. Meanwhile, your body is adjusting to a chemical influence that is quietly altering its natural balance. And I have seen this many times: individuals who have been living with dry mouth for months, even years, without realizing that the very treatment meant to support them is contributing to their discomfort, not out of negligence, but out of lack of awareness. Now, I must emphasize something very important. You should never stop taking your medication on your own. That would be dangerous and irresponsible. The goal here is not fear. It is understanding. Because once you understand, you are in a position to ask the right questions. Have you ever sat with your doctor or pharmacist and asked, "Could my medication be causing this dryness?" Many people have not. And yet, this simple question can open the door to better solutions. Sometimes, a dosage adjustment can make a difference. Sometimes, there may be an alternative medication with fewer effects on saliva. And in other cases, supportive measures can be introduced to counteract the dryness without compromising your treatment. This is what I call active participation in your health, not just receiving care, but engaging with it. Not just following instructions, but understanding how those instructions affect your body. There is also an emotional aspect to this that we must acknowledge. Many seniors feel reluctant to question their prescriptions. They trust their doctors, and rightly so. But trust does not mean silence. A good healthcare provider welcomes your questions, your observations, your experiences. Because you are the one living in your body every day. You are the one waking up with that dryness. Your voice matters in this process, and let me say this clearly. Your comfort matters. Your quality of life matters. Managing a condition should not mean quietly accepting new discomforts without seeking clarity. It is possible to treat one issue without unnecessarily burdening another part of your health, but that balance requires awareness and communication. When you begin to recognize that your medications may be part of the picture, something powerful happens. You move from confusion to clarity, from passive acceptance to informed action, and that shift, though it may seem small, can make a profound difference in how you experience your daily life. So if you find yourself waking up each morning with that familiar dryness, do not just reach for water and move on. Take a moment to reflect. Think about what you are taking, how long you have been taking it, and whether the timing aligns with when your symptoms began. These observations are not trivial. They are valuable pieces of information that can guide better decisions. Because at the end of the day, your health is not just about managing diseases. It is about maintaining balance, comfort, and dignity in your everyday living. And sometimes, the smallest symptoms are the ones that lead us to the most important conversations. Do not ignore what your body is trying to show you, especially when the answer may already be in your hands. Now, as we continue this conversation, I want you to begin seeing this issue from a wider lens, because what may start as a simple dry sensation in your mouth does not remain simple for long if it is ignored. The human body is deeply interconnected, and when one small protective system begins to weaken, the effects do not stay confined to one place. They spread gradually, quietly, and often without immediate pain to warn you. You see, saliva is not just about comfort. It is your mouth's first line of defense. Every single day, your mouth is exposed to food particles, bacteria, and acids. Normally, saliva works continuously to neutralize those acids, wash away debris, and keep harmful microorganisms under control. It is a natural cleansing system, operating without you even thinking about it. But when that system is compromised, when your mouth remains dry for extended periods, that protection begins to fade. And when protection fades, vulnerability begins. One of the earliest consequences is tooth decay. Without enough saliva to neutralize acids, your teeth are exposed to an environment where decay can develop much more easily. You may not notice it at first. There is no immediate alarm, no sharp pain. But over time, small areas of damage begin to form. Cavities appear, sometimes in places that were previously healthy. For seniors, this can progress faster than expected, especially if the dryness persists day after day. Then come the gums. Healthy gums rely on a balanced environment, and saliva plays a role in maintaining that balance. When dryness becomes chronic, bacteria can accumulate along the gum line, leading to inflammation. You may notice slight redness, tenderness, or even bleeding when brushing. These may seem like minor issues, but they can progress into gum disease if left unaddressed. And gum disease is not just about your mouth. It has been closely linked to broader health concerns, including heart conditions and systemic inflammation. There is also the matter of infection. A dry mouth creates the perfect environment for certain organisms to grow unchecked. One common example is oral fungal infection, which can develop when the natural balance in your mouth is disturbed. This can lead to soreness, white patches, and discomfort that affects your ability to eat and speak comfortably. Again, This is not something that happens overnight, but it is something that becomes more likely when dryness is persistent. Now let us talk about something many people hesitate to mention: bad breath. When saliva is insufficient, food particles and bacteria are not cleared effectively. This leads to odors that brushing alone may not fully resolve. For many seniors, this becomes a source of quiet embarrassment. They may speak less, laugh less freely, or feel self-conscious in social settings. And just like that, a physical symptom begins to affect emotional well-being. But it does not stop there. Dry mouth can also interfere with one of the most basic and essential functions: eating. Saliva helps form and soften food, making it easier to chew and swallow. Without it, meals can become uncomfortable. Dry foods may feel difficult to manage, and swallowing may require extra effort or water. Over time, this can change eating habits. Some people begin to avoid certain foods altogether, leading to a less varied diet. And when nutrition becomes limited, it affects energy levels, immunity, and overall health. Even speaking can become affected. If you have ever tried to talk for an extended period with a dry mouth, you know how uncomfortable it can be. Words may not come as smoothly, your throat may feel strained, and you may find yourself pausing frequently just to moisten your mouth. This may seem small, but communication is a vital part of human connection. When it becomes difficult, it can subtly reduce confidence and interaction. Now I want you to pause and consider something important. None of these consequences appear suddenly. They develop gradually, often quietly, without demanding immediate attention. And that is precisely why they are so often overlooked. Because there is no dramatic moment, no single event that forces you to act. Instead, there is a slow progression, from dryness to imbalance to complications. And by the time many people recognize the extent of the issue, it has already taken hold in multiple ways. But here is what I want you to understand: this is preventable, this is manageable, and most importantly, this is something you can take seriously before it reaches that stage. Your mouth is not separate from your body. It is an entry point, a reflection, and a contributor to your overall health. When something is not right there, it does not stay contained. It influences digestion, nutrition, immunity, and even how you feel about yourself. So when you wake up with a dry mouth, you are not just experiencing a minor inconvenience. You are witnessing the early stage of a process that, if ignored, can lead to much larger concerns. And the earlier you recognize that, the more power you have to protect yourself. Do not wait for pain to take action. Do not wait for discomfort to become disease. Because by then, what could have been simple to address may require much more effort to manage. Your body is giving you a chance quietly, consistently, every morning. And the question is, will you listen before the consequences speak louder than the warning? Now, after understanding what this dryness means, where it may be coming from, and what it can lead to if ignored, the most important question becomes this: what can you do about it? Because awareness without action does not protect you. It only informs you, and your health deserves more than awareness. It deserves response. The good news is this: you are not powerless in this situation. In fact, some of the most effective steps you can take are simple, practical, and within your control. But simplicity does not mean insignificance. These small, consistent actions can restore balance in ways that are both noticeable and lasting. Let us begin with something fundamental: hydration. It may sound almost too obvious, but it is one of the most overlooked aspects of senior health. As we age, the body's natural sense of thirst becomes less reliable. You may not feel thirsty even when your body needs water. And so, many people unintentionally live in a state of mild dehydration without realizing it. This becomes especially evident at night, when the body continues to lose fluids while you sleep. So what can you do? Do not wait for thirst to guide you. Make hydration intentional. Sip water consistently throughout the day, not all at once, but steadily. Pay attention to your body in the evening as well. A small glass of water before bed can make a difference, not excessive, but enough to support your system overnight. And when you wake up, instead of reacting to dryness, you begin to prevent it. Now, let us talk about your daily habits, because your mouth responds not only to what you consume, but how you care for it. Oral hygiene becomes even more important when saliva is reduced. Gentle but thorough brushing, cleaning your tongue, and maintaining a clean environment in your mouth helps reduce the burden on your natural defenses. When saliva is limited, your hygiene routine becomes your backup protection. There are also supportive tools that can help stimulate moisture in your mouth. Simple things like sugar-free lozenges or chewing gum can encourage saliva production. These are not cures, but they can provide relief and support your body's natural function. The key is to choose options that do not introduce excess sugar, because the goal is to protect, not create new problems. And then we return to something we discussed earlier, your medications. But this time, we approach them with action, not just awareness. If you suspect that your dryness may be linked to what you are taking, do not remain silent. Speak with your healthcare provider. Ask the question directly and clearly, not with fear, but with curiosity and responsibility. You are not challenging their expertise. You are contributing to it with your lived experience. In many cases, small adjustments can be made. Sometimes it is a matter of timing, sometimes dosage, and sometimes exploring alternatives. But none of this can happen unless you initiate the conversation. And that conversation, simple as it may seem, can lead to meaningful improvement in how you feel each day. There is also value in observing your environment. The air around you, especially at night, can influence dryness. If you sleep in a space where the air is very dry, it can worsen the sensation in your mouth and throat. Something as simple as improving air moisture in your room can reduce the intensity of morning dryness. Again, a small change, but one that supports your comfort. Now I want to speak to something deeper, your consistency. Because none of these steps will create change if they are done occasionally. Health is not built on occasional effort. It is built on daily attention. You cannot hydrate well one day and ignore it the next and expect stability. You cannot care for your mouth only when discomfort appears and expect lasting protection. What you do consistently becomes your baseline, and your baseline determines your experience. So instead of reacting to dryness when it happens, begin to live in a way that reduces its chances of occurring. This is a shift in mindset, from treatment to prevention, from reaction to intention, and it is one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your health journey. I also want you to understand that seeking help is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom. If dryness persists despite your efforts, do not hesitate to consult a professional. There are specific treatments, products, and evaluations that can go deeper than what you can manage on your own. You are not expected to solve everything alone, but you are expected to take the first step. And as you do all of this, remember why it matters. This is not just about eliminating a symptom. It is about restoring comfort to your mornings. It is about protecting your ability to eat, speak, smile, and live without unnecessary discomfort. It is about preserving your dignity in the small, everyday experiences that shape your quality of life. Because health is not only measured by the absence of disease, it is measured by the presence of ease. So do not accept dryness as your normal. Do not adjust your life around it as if it cannot change. It can change, but it requires your attention, your consistency, and your willingness to act on what your body is telling you. You have heard the warning. You understand the causes, and now you know the steps. The only thing left is to take them